Hi, my name is Jenny.
My name's Eury. Welcome back. It's season 3, episode 7. And we've got a question for you. You might remember this from the bonus bunny rabbit last week. What has walking to the park, taking a trip to the beach, and going to the moon have to do with bunny rabbits?
What does it have to do with bunny rabbits? If you listen to the last episode, the bonus bunny, you'll have the answer. If not, go back to episode 1. Our furry friends, they're here to help us discover how this universe supports us from A to Z, from having the thought to having the thing, from wanting it to being it, from desire to fulfillment.
Over the course of 13 episodes, we'll be discovering the mind-blowing roadmap that works 24/7. So whether you need a new home, a wonderful job, a new fiancé, an intimate relationship, or just a packet of crisps.
Whether you want to reconnect with your inner child, whether you want to reach the stars, whether you want to go to Hollywood and reach the stars, the Bunny Rabbit Solution has a tip for you.
We really love hearing from you, so please send in your beautiful mugshots, your answers, your questions and suggestions on Twitter at Conscious Cuppa or email us consciouscuppa@gmail.com. That's CONSCIOUSCUPPA.
And if you're not there already, you can go now to our YouTube channel where we have some visuals, and on Spotify as well, where we also have a questionnaire. We've got some links in the description to help introduce you to this beautiful spiral and transform your understanding of the law of attraction and how imagining creates reality.
And Brew Crew, stay tuned to the very end of the show for an Akan Easter egg. Get yourself some Ghanaian wisdom, but for now, we invite you to
grab a brew, take a pew, and let's make the impossible come true. Ooh, what
we've got a surprise.
We've got a surprise. Not only have we got an amazing drink this week, but it was prepared by an amazing housemate. It's Catrina. It's Catrina, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome to the table.
Thank you.
So
it's
can
great
you tell
to be
us?
here.
Yeah. Oh, it's great to have you here.
We've been scheduling and rescheduling this meetup, this gathering, this exchange of liquids
Yeah.
for a while now, and we're finally here. And at the last minute, we had a change of tea. Tell us what we're going to be drinking.
We're going to be drinking our homemade kombucha, which of course is made with green and black tea. And this particular batch, Jenny and I brewed together.
Yes, I remember. There was a SCOBY. You know what a SCOBY is?
No.
It's a kind of alien mother that sits on top and says, "What do you want?" Helps to create the tea.
Okay, so what makes that kombucha rather than just tea then?
It's got live, organic, living, like you get in yogurt,
Okay.
like you get in kefir. It's got living creatures.
So it's
in
like
there.
bio, basically.
Yeah, but
It's good for your gut.
Great.
Yeah. What's that other word they use? Your
Digestive tract.
digestive tract. There's also another word.
Microbiome.
That's the one. Okay, so we've got not only the kombucha, which is the orange liquid that you will see in the picture, but we've also got some sparkly water to go with it because it can be a bit strong. But we're going to try it without first, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I pour it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yes, please. That's a good sound. So it's not alcoholic. It needs sugar to brew, doesn't it?
Oh, really?
The creatures need,
It needs
Need some food, man.
need some food besides the tea.
So-
Interesting. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, it's pleasant.
It's really
Yeah.
It's really nice and sweet.
It smells a little bit vinegary, but it doesn't taste at all
Oh
vinegary.
god,
and it's nice.
the last batch before this,
Yeah.
because it was left for too many weeks?
Like maybe 4.
4 weeks. It usually should be 2,
Yeah.
and it was so vinegary. I really liked it, but it was
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah.
This is perfect.
Well, that sounds like the apple cider version that my stepmom has in the States. She poured me some and I took a big gulp and it just tasted like drinking vinegar straight out of the bottle. This has made me falling back in love with kombucha.
Kombucha to you too. So, Catrina, you're not just here to make us tea because, you know, that's not what you do. That's not just what you do. You've been doing some imagining, haven't you?
I guess so, yes.
Some conscious imagining.
Mhm.
So the main reason that Catrina's here is because she has a wonderful story to share with the listeners. And we're going to come over to that in a little while when we do our 10-minute section. But for now, this season we're sharing the roadmap of life. That one that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, whether you know it or not, and whether you're rich or poor, good or bad, happy or sad.
It's a pattern, an unfolding spiral that's been called the Fibonacci sequence. It's in the beauty of the ocean wave, the majesty of the cosmos, the design of the winding shell, and reflected in us all, in every human being, shaping and defining our physical bodies. The universal spiral is a path that nature herself builds with you to lift you out of wanton pain and into ease and delight.
We're going to be traveling along this spiritual path that has 7 obvious steps. And this week's step is number 5. Each step is numbered according to the Fibonacci sequence, from 0 to 13. We take these 7 numbers, look at their original meanings, let them tell us an unfolding story. Each number symbolizes a chapter of the story, and each chapter lets you know exactly where you are on the unwinding path and what to do next to proceed and succeed.
The story begins whenever an idea comes to you, maybe as a need, a wish, a dream. It always comes as a gift into your heart and mind, helping you discover the creative power that we each have within us. Here on the podcast, we look at the seemingly impossible challenges, ideas and needs, and the dreams that may seem impossible to achieve, and how to accomplish them on the journey into the forbidden and unconscious realms of possibility.
Once inside that forbidden forest, the invisible work begins as you create a new reality for you to experience as a gift to yourself. And then wait. Really wait. Until, pop! Out of the blue, you encounter your dream come true. The thought has arrived as something in your physical world. The idea has produced an event, an object, an encounter.
Before we go any further, we ask you to take a look around you. Take a good look. Can you see any object that a person made that wasn't once only imagined? Big or small, all ideas follow the same path of growth, from thought to thing, in your very own wonderful human imagination. Your ideas are no exception, so pick one and let's get in the lift of life.
It's time for Magic Minute. This is the time it takes to go up 13 floors in the lift of life and look at this week's subject, which is number 5, and the magic word is touch. So in the Hebraic language, number 5 is hay or he, spelled Hay or He, and it actually means window. You can imagine that the window might mean the window of the soul, but we'll come to that when we do our brainstorming. Catrina, you're going to help us with brainstorming this word touch, what that might mean, especially in a spiritual term. And then we're going to look at what the thesaurus from the 19th century says about touch.
Okay.
And see if we can add some more spikes to our mind map. So we need a minute on the clock.
We've got a minute on the clock, Jenny.
Okie doke. And the lift doors are closing now.
So touch, Catrina, what does it mean to you? Give us another word for touch.
Physical contact.
Oh, yeah,
contact,
like that.
Yeah. I'm going to say kiss. I'm going to say engage. I'm going to say contact. Help me out, people. Help me out.
Feeling.
Feeling. Okay.
How about like the surface of something? Texture.
Sure. Yeah. 14 seconds.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody got anything else?
Touch is to Did you mean like the emotional touch?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when you feel touched by.
Yeah. I'm going to put emotional and I'm going to put embrace.
Okay. I like that.
Got any more?
No.
Okay, so what's Roget got?
What's Roget got? Okay, so I've not only got the window, according to the thesaurus, but I've also got touch. Let's put a minute on the clock.
Okay.
Katrina, would you like to read out randomly some of these words?
Right.
And the lift doors are closing now.
Eye of a needle.
Ooh.
Accept.
Accept or accept? Accept.
A.
A-double-C, yeah.
Accept.
Yeah, that's
Gesture.
unusual. Gesture.
Gesture.
Yep.
Relate.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Rent.
Rent, as in tear, maybe? Vent.
Oh, vent.
Vent. Okay.
Vent.
Chasm.
Yep.
Open sesame.
Open sesame. Ooh.
Manipulation. And sensation of pressure.
We've got time for one more.
Disturb the soul.
Disturb the soul. That is perfect. He's pretty good, isn't he, Roger?
Yeah.
Roger. Thank you. So, Katrina, the kombucha is wonderful, but the real reason you're here is because you had this fantastic experience, which when you told me, I was just like, I have to get you onto the podcast to tell people about this. Can you give us the background of what happened before the magic happened?
The short version is I didn't go out all day except for to one place, which was in central London. And I came back straight away. So I went there and came back. And then I sat down to have dinner and I touched my earlobe and I realized I had lost my great-grandmother's earring.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, I had one of them left and I checked and it was the one that was a replica already of the original.
Oh.
Because when I was a child, I had lost one of them and my mom made a replica of it. So yeah, I was just feeling like that can't be, I can't have lost the original. Like,
God, yeah.
Because I knew I could get a second one made, but it's somehow felt wrong.
Yeah.
And then I went back to the train station and I searched the ground. I couldn't find it. I went like twice the whole way. And I was like, well, okay, I got on the train. I went to central London and I got back. So I could have lost it anywhere.
Yeah.
But somehow I just felt like it cannot be. I can't have lost this earring. Then on Sunday, I hoovered the whole house.
Just in case that you might come across it.
Yeah, and then I opened the bag to go through it to see if I... but I didn't find anything interesting, and I didn't find my earring either.
I like that. I didn't find anything interesting or the earring.
Couple of pound coins.
Yeah, you never know. And it was raining the whole day, so I didn't go out either. And then I think you came home at some point. And I think I had already written in the house chat that I had lost my earring, and if someone sees it and finds it.
Yes.
I was standing in the door and you asked me, oh, did you find it? And I said, no. And then you said, do you want to find it? And I said, yes. And then you said like, okay, just imagine that you have it in your hand, that you're holding it. And so I just closed my left hand and I imagined that it was there. And then I think you said, think about what it feels like. It's there in your hand, and think about how heavy it is and how it feels, like how hard it is.
Yeah.
And so that's just what I did. And then you said, now you can let it go. It'll come to you. And I guess I was like, okay. And I opened my hand and I was like, okay. And I don't know.
What did you think at that point in terms of like, is this going to work? Or what were you thinking at that time?
Because I felt like I'm going to find this earring.
Yes.
I can't have lost this earring. That's what I felt.
Yes.
And so I guess I just thought like, why not? To be honest, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I didn't know anything about what you are teaching on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I live with you, so I have heard some things, but I didn't really exactly understand what the concept behind it is. So I think you said something like, you're a magnetic field, it'll come to you or something. And
Yeah.
I like that image, you know,
Yeah.
because it's like a gold earring. And I thought like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think it was like towards the evening and it stopped raining and I needed some milk for my coffee on the next day. And I thought, okay, on the way to the store, I'll just check the road again. And I kind of walked out, and at the bottom of the road, I thought like, oh gosh, I better check. Like I haven't like been checking. I was kind of like a little bit absent-minded.
Yeah.
And I got into the park, and as I turned the corner, suddenly I was like, oh, I can feel it. It's close. And I walked 2 more steps and it was there on the floor.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got all goose pimples up the back of my neck.
I was like, it was a very strange moment. And I saw it and then I touched my other ear to see if the other one was there, because I thought maybe I somehow tricked myself
Yeah.
to let it drop on the floor to think that I have found it.
Yes, yes.
And then I just found it and then I put it in like a little box thing that I had on me. And I just like walked to the store kind of just grinning, and this man was looking at me like, what is this lady doing? I was just like, oh my God, it's magical. Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. That must have been so satisfying.
Yeah.
And relieving as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it felt right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the way that you stopped and just like somewhere in my magnetic field, I can feel it almost trembling. What were you picking up there, Eury?
The intensity with which you love that earring because it belongs to your grandmother really helps. It gives it gravitas. You know, especially in this world, in this life, in this era, lots of things are throwaway. You know, I can go and buy gold earrings tomorrow and it's not a big deal. It's not seen as a major thing. But that gold earring from your grandmother is irreplaceable, basically. Yes, you can make a replica, but it's irreplaceable. And it's the emotional attachment with that. And it's I'm sure, all the feelings of your grandmother that's associated with that. So I think because it has such a gravitas emotionally, that's why you could feel it so intensely. You know, you felt the loss of it and therefore you wanted it so much. And I think that's part of how creative beings work. You know, our flippant desires come and go, you know, but sometimes you have these intense desires and they're really gifts. Like your grandmother's earring is not just a gift for you to practice for the first time, consciously imagining, but now anytime there's something that has that gravitas, you want it. Now it's a gift because it was your grandmother's earring. You will never forget it because they're special to you. You wear them, you see them in every photograph of yourself.
I'm not wearing them at the moment.
Are you worried about losing them?
I thought I'll give them a break.
Yeah. Well, I like the way that you're going to be able to apply what you've learned from this to something else, like getting a job that you really want. This feeling that if you can feel like you've already got it, and to have this feeling of relief and satisfaction, so that when you get it, when you actually get it on the physical level, then you know, I done that. It's not because I know this person or that person. I've helped to create this situation. I've helped to create this moment. And then it's somehow a bit more satisfying than the feeling of just luck, that you just walk down the street and you luckily found it. No, you actively were involved with that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, this idea that, you know, this person or that person, actually what happens is you create this magnetic field and this person and that person get involved.
Yeah.
Because that's part of who they are. That's part of, you know, they're happy to do that. They're willing. So, you know, it's not that isn't true, that this and that person get involved to make your job or create your job or, you know, meet you or however it happens. But it's what happened first. And whether that's conscious or unconscious, it's always what happens first. And so if you have a conscious desire of a specific feeling of a job, if you don't really mind, I just want to make money. I have any job, it's fine, you know.
Then it's the money that you're attracted rather than the job.
Yeah. Or maybe something else. That's a fantastic story.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and with the listeners. I'm sure it's going to be inspiring and encouraging for you if you've got something that you really needed, maybe something that you thought you'd lost. Don't give up hope. Catrina did not give up hope. And that's the first step. Don't give up hope. Thank you, Catrina.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Happy to share.
Stop the podcast.
It's time for a Noelle Nugget. And it's my turn to choose.
Okay, Jenny, pick a number.
I will pick number 2, please.
So, number 2. Any attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing your face.
I try to remember that from time to time. The world is a mirror. So if I don't like anything about what I see, like when you're trying to do your hair in the mirror, you can't expect the mirror to do the changes. You have to do the changes. On with the podcast.
On with the podcast, Jenny.
So Catrina's had to go off.
Yeah.
And we're going to get her back to do the I Can't Easter egg at the end.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we've got to put 10 minutes on the clock and we're going to talk through this number 5. I don't know if 10 minutes is going to be enough. But we've already had a good 10 minutes with Catrina's story, which was fantastic. And we'll use the story to help us understand something about this very important stage, because I've been emphasizing how important this stage is. Let's see what we can do with 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If we need more time, we'll make more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got lots of amazing words that you heard on our mind map.
Yes.
Can you summarise what this all means?
The main thing to understand about this step is this is the engagement. So the word engage, which came up on the mind map, is probably the most important word, because we've had the hope of marriage when we were at number 3. This hope that we're going to meet and find our saviour. You know, if you're hungry, food is your saviour. So your hope is for food. You're going to hope to be joined with a plate of food. And with number 5, you're actually starting to engage with it. We talked about going on a first date. This is like you on the date now. You being quite serious about getting in contact, getting in touch with the idea of the fulfillment. Am I making myself clear?
Yeah. I think it's this joining, isn't it? So now you want to be joined. You want to join with it. You've gone beyond entertaining it, and it's much more consistent now. So
I wouldn't use the word want to, because what we're doing here, once we get from 3 to 5, what you're doing when you step through that window is you're stepping into your dream as if it had already happened.
Right, of course.
So because if I'm saying that I want the thing, I'm saying I don't have it. In 5, your assumption is you do have it.
Oh, so it's reminding me of my dream where I'm dancing with Jesus. So I'm in touch. This is in touch.
Yeah, so you don't want to do the dance. You are doing the dance. So in a sense, what we were doing at 3 was preparing the stage, preparing the scene for us to now go into and act out from. So we're going to act from the idea, not act with, me watching myself on TV. I'm actually going to be going through the motions. So if it is that I do want a new job, then I need to be already in the job, and I'm acting out a scene in the job that implies I have it already. It's like my first day or my first week or my first month. End of the month I've got paid. These things let me know that I've got the job. But not only is there this physical interaction with the desk I'm at, or the station that I'm at, or the work that I'm doing, there's not only the physical engagement with that, there's also the emotional engagement with that. So there's 2 kinds of feelings going on here.
So this engagement, this touch, is a very quick scene, isn't it? It's the scene where Catrina, in her imagination, holds this earring in her hand. She can feel the weight of it. she can feel the texture of it, she can feel the temperature of it, and she can feel the feeling of having found it.
Yes, it's very similar to the ball experiment. With the ball experiment, you could replace that ball with anything. It could be the earring, it could be money, it could be a tennis racket, it could be your brand new car, it could be whatever it is. I don't, we say all these various kind of standard things, but yeah, why not your great-grandmother's earring? Something small, something shiny, something hard. I didn't know what the shape of it was, but she knew exactly what the shape of it was. So she needed to engage with the object in order to prove to herself on her inner level that she has it. Like when you think about getting a job, you think about all the steps you might have to go through in order to get the contract, in order for you to be in that new work environment. What this spiral requires of you is to bridge that gap between 3 and 5. The number in between is
4,
which represents the door and which represents, in a sense, death's door. So in a way, we kind of feel that we have to stop something before we start something else. That's not the case here.
It's the other way round.
It's the other way round. You think that in order for you to marry your new partner, you'd have to divorce the old one first. Not the way round here. Not on the spiritual level. It absolutely requires you to get married first, and then, as a consequence, not a condition, as a consequence, the old has to leave. So you have to engage with the whatever it is that you want as if you have it, and then the old situation that says you don't have it disappears, fades into the background. So when we go from 3 to 5, we don't really go from 3 to 5. You want to suddenly appear at 5. You want to arrive before you depart.
Yes.
That's saying that I continually return to. Arrive before you depart. In a dream that I had, I was trying to get from A to Z. And every time that I tried to get to Z, I was thrown back to A.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't a literal A to Z, although metaphorically that is true too. But I was trying to get from where I was to where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And each time I tried harder and harder, I could not sustain myself at the end point. What I had to do was first of all remember, arrive before you depart. So when that thought came to me during this dream, which was basically a training dream, it was just reminding me that you have to be at the end. You have to live in the end.
Yes.
You have to be in your new job before you've left your old job.
Yes. Yes.
So, as soon as I'd done that in my imagination, I could imagine myself at the end point. And literally I was kind of flying between these 2 points. As soon as I just imagined that suddenly I'm at the end point, I was brought back to the beginning and then taken effortlessly. Whereas before I was struggling and I was running faster and trying to jump higher and trying to jump longer and nothing was working. What was important to do was just be at the end. Be where you want to be. So when we go into 5, what we're doing is dropping all assumptions about how I'm going to get it. How am I going to get this earring? Already have the earring. So at one point, standing in front of Catrina's door, she said, but it's so far away. I said, no, it's in your hand. It's in your hand. Your imagination's hand, yes.
Yeah.
But that's the greater reality. So once you can just accept it's in my hand, and this is going back to the 2 pillars where you approach Yakin and Boaz. Yakin is saying, I'm accepting that my imagination's going to do this.
Yeah.
Can do this. Boaz is calling the earring with love.
Yes.
Yeah. Not out of desperation, not out of fear of loss, but love that will call it. Now, if you can do that, you'll never lose that earring again.
Yeah.
But if it is out of fear, yeah, you probably are going to lose it again. I used to lose things all the time out of fear. So I have to learn now to call things back into existence with love.
Yes.
Then it will never leave me because love is the only thing that endures. So what else do we want to say? I mentioned the word I.
Yeah, so you wanted to discuss the word I. So what's that got to do with our touch, our our window?
So the window to the soul is the eye, right? So the window into your imagination is you looking in. Me looking out into the physical is actually a version of me looking in, because what's out there is reflecting what's inside me.
Mm.
So when we talk about the window, we're talking about the eye. We're also looking at this going into the dream world, which is within you. So when you create this scene, what you're creating is a kind of dream that you're going to go into and reenact the scene that implies everything's funky-dory. And then you're going to repeat that over and over again in your mind's eye until you've got it.
And so that repeating, that touch that you feel is to do with that feeling of complete satisfaction, isn't it?
Yeah, complete satisfaction, which is going to take us into number 8 and 6 and 7.
Yeah.
But right now we're in a kind of, we've been in the reader's room of the film production. We've gone through the script. That was at number 3. At number 5, you're in rehearsal.
Yeah.
What you're going to do at number 8 is get carried away.
Mm.
Carried away to such an extent you completely forget your old situation, that you don't have the job, that you don't have the earring. So when Catrina was leaving the house, she kind of, like she said, she was a bit absent-minded. She just was, these things have to come out of the blue.
Mm.
So you've kind of got to forget about it. And you will be encouraged to forget. Your mind will be on something else. All of a sudden, something else will pop into your head.
Yeah.
So you don't need to try really to forget about it. You will forget about it.
Yeah.
Just as it's about to pop back into existence. But the bit that Catrina was doing that is number 5 was the touch, was the feeling, the shape, the weight, looking at the shininess with her eyes, her imaginary eyes.
Yeah.
Touching with her imaginary hands.
Mm.
And that's the level that is already in contact with the earring. And then this level has to catch up. It's compelled to catch up. So just to summarize it, you've had the idea.
Yeah.
That's 0, 1. You entertain the idea. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, the house is saying, don't think we can do that because of X, Y, and Z.
Mm.
But something in you says, but I really want it.
Yes.
So I'm going to go beyond my limits and find this in my imagination.
Yeah.
So at number 3, the journey, the camel is going to go on this journey to find it. It's going to find it in the imagination.
Yeah.
Because your imagination is a storehouse. It has everything there.
Mm.
So when you leave on that journey, you're leaving with the confidence that you can find it in imagination. And you're leaving with this sense of love that Boaz encourages us to have, to call this thing into existence, into your imagination in love. You don't try and get there, you already be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds us of the Room of Requirement from J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. In that story, there is a room within the school of Hogwarts that can shape itself to any requirement you have. If you need a table tennis room, it will provide that for you. If it needs a cupboard for you to hide in, it will provide itself and come all the way down to the size of a cupboard. It was used as a huge training ground for the students. So it can change shape and it can change the contents. That's imagination. What she's written about is imagination. So with number 5, what you're doing is creating a room that has what you require in it.
Mm.
And you go in and you engage with it. And the reason that you're engaging with it, touching, using your sense of sight, using your sense of hearing, but touch in particular with your fingers, with your hands, with your body, you're engaging with your imaginary body, not your physical body. You leave that alone. That's sitting on the chair somewhere. You are off doing all sorts, just like you do at night. When you engage, what you're doing is you are fixing a point along your space-time continuum, your path. You are fixing and anchoring a point that you are going to meet on the physical level.
Yeah.
And the very fact that you touched that thing is now confirmed that you have it.
Yes.
But this again is the practice phase. So number 8 is when you absolutely get it. You're engaged here. And we're using the analogy of marriage. In number 8, you actually get married.
Yes.
So we'll leave it there with number 5. There's so much more there. On our Padlet page, we have the book which you can download for free, and there's lots more in there. So that's a great place to go after here. And we'll put a Neville lecture. That's really good. And I think 5 lessons
Yes.
is actually the one, definitely. Number 5. 5 lessons. Brilliant. Absolutely essential. And that's it for this week.
That is it already.
Thank you so much to Catrina
Yeah.
and her wonderful story.
About her great-great-grandmother.
And thank you to Roger for providing us with the hands.
Yeah, the animation. Fantastic.
His details are in the description. There will be a link to his Tumblr page. Remember the Padlet page, because that's where we have the book that will go into more detail. I feel like number 5 has got so much more to offer than we were able to talk about. But at least we had a special guest to talk about their actual experience. If you want to send in your experiences, your questions and suggestions, please get in contact on Twitter and on
Gmail, consciouscuppa@gmail.com.
Wonderful. We look forward to hearing from you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Brew Crew, for waiting to the very end of the podcast for your Akan Easter egg, which Catrina is going to do the honours of choosing.
It is the crooked wood that reveals the true sculptor.
Have you got a bit of crooked wood in you?
Definitely.
I think everybody does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're all
definitely.
sculpting something, whether
We
we
are.
know it or not.
That's right. What would you say about this?
So I would say that it's a bit like cloud watching. So you can look out at the sky and sometimes you'll see a bunny rabbit, for instance. An actual artist sculpture would look at a piece of wood and it would call them to reveal the shape within it. And so I think our lives are like that.
It also reminds me of the saying of the storm reveals the skill of the sailor.
Yes.
If everything's calm, if the wood is all straight, you're not challenged. The crooked piece of wood is going to challenge the sculptor to see what they can really do. Yeah.
I see.
Thanks to your great-grandmother for providing you this opportunity. And thank you for listening in. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Yeah, thanks. It was great to share my story.